Alright, hello and welcome to the Devstream 110 breakdown. As you can see, not a whole lot to talk about. The Devstream was pretty light on any information that we hadn't kind of already seen. There were some very minor updates on what the hub world of Venus is going to look like, which is stuff we've already talked about in past Devstreams, and various other little bits and pieces here and there. But in terms of big main information, we got very little. So, I also included showing the Equinox helmet. This is Equinox's alt helmet. This is the alt helmet that got its files lost so very long ago. It has been remodeled, so now, Equinox people, you are going to get a new alt helmet for you to have available, basically. I know, obviously, Equinox is beginning a hell of a lot of use in Onslaught, just because she is so good there. So, if you're looking for a new alt helmet, that's going to be available halfway decently soon, and the files are backed up so they can't get lost this time. So, good news on that for you guys that like Equinox. Besides that, let's talk about Onslaught. So, there has been a lot of really overblown stuff going on with Onslaught where it came out initially and it was very buggy and crashy and it had bad tiles in it. That stuff is all stuff that DE has been constantly working on to fix all the bugs, to make it so that the tiles spawn the appropriate amount of enemies, and all that business. And then, before they were really done fixing on that stuff, they kind of rebalanced Onslaught to make the drain on efficiency way higher, which drastically shortened the amount of runs, and because the tiles weren't already fixed, it shortened them even further than you might expect, down to where only really doing one C rotation was worth it, and then you would go out and come back in, on Elite anyway. With that, people were very, very unhappy, and because they also fixed the enemy scaling that they had some problems with in there from those two versions, it lowered focus gains. And when I say it lowered focus gains, it didn't actually really lower them that much. The difference of maxing your daily focus for me with the exact same, setup, lenses, all that shit, was the difference of 2 zones. So, it was a trivial, 5-minute difference in terms of affinity gained for focus, and also, it's a really not actually 2 full zones of difference, because I maxed out very, quickly in, zone 10, as opposed to maxing out at the end of zone 8. So, the focus difference that people were complaining about wasn't really there, but that being said, they are doing more changes to Onslaught to make it so that the difficulty is not based on efficiency as much as it is based on enemy level, and enemy levels in Onslaught, Elite Onslaught, are going to be going up into the 200s, because that is kind of the way people want to fail, let's say. They want to fail because they can't kill the enemies fast enough, not because the timer ticked down faster than they could murder the enemies that are spawning, which is what was happening in their kind of second iteration of Onslaught, let's say. So with that, focus gains they're not really, the focus gains got lowered by a very small percentile, and it really wasn't affecting how good the mode was for getting focus that much, so that complaint I think is kind of weird. And otherwise, they removed Korra from Elite Onslaught, which actually gives you gives you a better chance to get the things you want from Elite Onslaught, which I know has a couple of problems in there because people really want those Vandals, but overall, getting most of the chance to get a Radiant Relic is actually really, really good in the long run for making ducats and for making platinum off of those relics that have those good items that are worth the monies. So, I know people probably want me to be really outraged about Onslaught, but D has done, since its release, they've tried some things. They've tried some things that have not gone well, which is the efficiency changes, and they're reverting that now. So just keep giving your feedback and be constructive, because I think Onslaught overall is a really good shot at a new mode. I think it's really fun. I have a really good time doing it. It's a good way to do focus and also get other valuable rewards. And just meter your feedback and don't be crazy angry, because I feel they're in general doing a pretty good job, and they're doing a really good job of responding to feedback being given to them. So just keep doing that. Along kind of on the side of that, Korra finally got her changes. I have unfortunately not had a opportunity to go through and test all that stuff yet, But rest assured, now that Korra is like given a whole bunch more stuff, she's going to get her review video and all that business. Okay, now that I've talked about Onslaught more than I guess realistically it needs to be talked about, let's talk about the fixing, Scrambus, and Combas. So this is a thing that no one who's new to Warframe is going to appreciate just how good this change is. Scrambus and Combas are rare Corpus enemies that had an AoE that turns off specific powers based on if it's a Scrambus or a Combas. This was an invisible AoE, and the enemies were not particularly easy to recognize, especially because their AoE works through walls. That shit was incredibly frustrating. Now, however, they are fixing Scrambus and Combas to have an AoE that they specifically shoot out and have to charge up momentarily so you can tell when it's happening, and it radiates out from them at a slow enough pace where you could back dodge out of it and actually react, or murder them like mid-cast so that it doesn't finish. That shit is absolutely incredible. Like, for me personally, Scrambus and Combas have been like my most hated enemy for the longest time because there was absolutely no way to know what was going to happen. Like, it can turn, like, one of them can turn off Rhino's Iron Skin, for example. And if you're in a high level mission and you walk into a room and there is absolutely no tell whatsoever that you're standing on a railing and there's a Combas below you that's going to turn off your Iron Skin, you just get shot once and you die. Like, there was no way to know things, and I hate that shit. This is going to fix all of that. It's outstanding. It makes the enemy way better designed with, like, real, like, gameplay things that happen as opposed to bullshit. That stuff is awesome. I could go on all day about how much better of a design that is. I love it. Anyway, the final thing, and I know this is so short for, like, stuff that was important in the Devstream to talk about. The final thing is this teaser that they gave us. So this is a sacrifice teaser for the new cinematic quest, obviously. And it's got the whole, like, hey, look at this right arm thing. Now, here's the deal with this. This teaser is so... the dots that I connected are so right next to each other and so obvious that I actually kind of think this might be misdirection. Like, what this says to me is that the sacrifice is going to include the sentient arm cannon, which looks like this. They showed this a bunch of dev streams ago, and they're like, we don't really know where we're going to put it. This is like a giant weapon override thing that's supposed to be super powerful. And, like, this arm thing, it just feels so, like, it's so brutally obvious to me. And I feel like anyone who's been, like, paying a little bit of attention, that it feels like that's actually not the case. But we have nowhere else to go with what that could possibly mean, so this is kind of the only option. Obviously, it's on the opposite side of the body, but obviously, like, switching something to the opposite side of the body, that's, like, a very small developmental thing, I think. And also, like, it would probably make more sense if it was on the right side of your body because of how aiming down sight works. So if you could aim down sight with it, you obviously want to see your big, cool, sentient arm cannon, so it would be on the right side of your body in all likelihood. Anyway, that's what I think that is, because I have no other, like, real viable guess. It is, again, so obvious as to perhaps be misdirection, and we might just get Ballas's big gangly weirdo arm that he used to hypnotize the Lotus. So, you know, it could really go, like, any way with that. One way or another, obviously I can't wait for the sacrifice. It's probably going to be quite good. And that's kind of been Devstream 110. Like, just not a whole lot was talked about. And I'm sorry this is coming out pretty late. But yeah, that's Devstream 110. I will see you guys later.